As I stepped into the quaint Airbnb nestled in the heart of a small town in Los Angeles, I couldn't help but feel a strange mixture of excitement and unease. The place was a steal, the price ridiculously low for such a charming little house. The owner had explained it was due to the slow tourist season, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. The first evening was uneventful. I unpacked my bags, settled in, and spent some time exploring the town. However, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the streets, a peculiar sensation settled over me. My eyes were drawn to the house next door, where an elderly woman resided. She was said to be between 85 and 90 years old, and her presence was known to the locals as both eerie and unsettling. Whispers in the town suggested that the old woman had a habit of watching over the Airbnb at night, her eyes seemingly fixed on the property. Every now and then, I would catch a glimpse of her through the window, her pale face illuminated by the faint glow of a lamp. The way she stared at the house sent shivers down my spine, and I found myself closing the curtains, trying to put her out of my mind. One fateful night, as the moon hung high in the sky, there came a soft, deliberate knock on my door. I hesitated, heart pounding, before cautiously approaching the door. I opened it a crack, revealing the old woman standing there, her eyes piercing and intense. "Joseph," she spoke, her voice a hushed whisper that seemed to carry a weight of years. "I've been watching you. There's something you should know." My pulse quickened, and I stammered, "Who are you? What do you want?" Ignoring my questions, she continued, "The house you're staying in, it holds secrets. Dark secrets that have been buried for far too long. You must be careful." My breath caught in my throat as her words hung in the air, laden with an ominous sense of foreboding. Before I could respond, the old woman turned and disappeared into the night, leaving me standing there, trembling. The next morning, I was determined to unravel the mystery surrounding the old woman and the Airbnb. I approached the owner, asking about her, but was met with confusion. According to the owner, no such woman lived nearby, and the house next door had been empty for years. As disbelief clouded my mind, the owner added, "The person who used to live there, she passed away 9 years ago." My heart raced as I processed this information. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. There was something supernatural at play. The old woman I had seen, the whispers of hidden secrets, it was all connected to something beyond the realm of the living. Days turned into weeks, and my stay in the Airbnb grew increasingly eerie. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes following my every move. Sleep became elusive as strange noises echoed through the night. And then, one final night, as I lay wide awake in the darkness, the old woman's voice returned to me, as if carried by the wind itself. "Joseph," her voice whispered, "beware the shadows that dance between worlds. Some secrets are best left undisturbed." With the first light of dawn, I packed my bags and left the Airbnb behind, the weight of the unknown lingering in the air. As I drove away from that small town in Los Angeles, I couldn't help but wonder about the thin veil between the living and the beyond, and the chilling mysteries that could lurk in the most unexpected corners of our world. The Airbnb I found in the quiet corners of a small town in Texas was nothing short of a steal. It was charming, cozy, and unbelievably cheap. I couldn't help but wonder what the catch was as I settled into the quaint little house. The sunsets were breathtaking, casting a warm golden glow across the landscape, but as night fell, an inexplicable chill would crawl up my spine. Across from the Airbnb, there was a house that seemed like it had weathered countless storms. A sense of antiquity clung to its very walls, and from its balcony, 3 elderly figures would watch me each night. The triplets, as I came to know them from the townsfolk, were aged between 70 and 80, their eyes filled with curiosity as they gazed at my Airbnb. The first time I caught them watching me, I dismissed it as mere curiosity. But as the days turned into weeks, their nightly ritual became a constant presence in my life. Every evening, as darkness enveloped the town, they would emerge on their balcony, peering intently at the Airbnb. Their gazes were penetrating, as though they could see right through the walls. Stranger still were the footsteps that would echo from above my head each night. As I lay in bed, trying to find solace in sleep, the sound of soft but distinct footsteps would travel across the roof of the Airbnb. The rhythm was irregular, sometimes slow and deliberate, other times hurried and frantic. No matter how many times I checked, there was never anyone there. One evening, my curiosity got the better of me. I phoned the owner of the Airbnb, my voice tinged with unease. "Do you know anything about the triplets in the house across the street?" I inquired, my voice barely concealing my apprehension. There was a pause on the other end of the line before the owner replied, "Triplets, you say? There haven't been any triplets living in that house for over 30 years. They disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and no one knows what truly happened to them." My heart pounded in my chest as I processed the owner's words. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. These weren't living triplets watching me, but something else entirely. The footsteps on the roof, the unsettling feeling that lingered in the air, it was all connected to the lingering presence of these long-lost triplets. As the nights passed, the situation grew more eerie. The triplets' gaze felt more intense, their presence more palpable. And then, one fateful night, as the moon hung low in the sky, the footsteps on the roof grew louder and more insistent. I lay frozen in bed, my heart racing as the sound seemed to be getting closer and closer. With a sudden shudder, the room plunged into darkness as the power went out. Panic surged through me as I fumbled for my phone to use its flashlight. But as the feeble light illuminated the room, the sight that met my eyes froze my blood. The figures of the triplets stood at the foot of my bed, their eyes vacant and yet filled with an otherworldly knowing. Without a word, they turned and walked toward the window, disappearing into the night. And as dawn broke, I knew it was time to leave. The weight of the unknown, the lingering presence of the triplets, it was all too much to bear. As I drove away from that small town in Texas, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had brushed against the veil between the living and the unknown. The mystery of the triplets would forever remain unsolved, a secret whispered across time, reminding me that some stories are meant to remain shrouded in darkness.